In Hinamoto, the Heijiro Karatsuju, an armored train, passes an abandoned station and gets attacked by several Kabana, humans turned monsters by a viral infection. The Bushi on the train fight and defeat them, but one is bitten and the rest force him to kill himself to prevent him from turning and endanger the rest. In the meantime, at Airgain Station, Ikoma, a young steamsmith works on a powerful piercing gun capable of killing the Kabana. On the next day, while doing his regular job, Ikoma explains his progress with Takumi and realizes his mistake for the gun and wants to go home and work on it. But they receive news that Karatsuju arrives. While they perform cleaning on the train, Ikoma steals some Kabana body parts. Kenshu Yamagawa, the leader of the Yamagawa family, welcomes and excuses Mumei and Shimon, two passengers on the train, from the mandatory Kabana inspection. The inspection finds an infected, who tries to run while stating he isn't a Kabana. Ikoma interferes, protecting the man, stating they need to lock him and not kill him, as that's the rules the Bushi made themselves. That only annoys the Bushi, who then attack Ikoma, and the Kabana hearts he collected get seen. The man is then shot, and as he dies, everyone realizes he wasn't infected, while Ikoma gets thrown in jail in suspicion of being Kabana. During the night, Mumei sneaks out and visits Ikoma as she's intrigued by his personality and beliefs. Another Heijiro Fusoju arrives at the station. The defensive bridge gets lowered, but as the train is taken over by the Kabana, it crashes at the defensive wall, allowing the Kabana to attack the station. Emergency is announced and Ikoma manages to escape jail and heads home. He manages to lure Kabana into his house to test his gun. When he kills Kabana, he begins to celebrate, only to find out that he has been bitten. Shimon gets bitten too and instructs Mumei to continue to Kangakaku and await their master orders. Ikoma starts transforming into Kabana. To prevent it, he uses several painful and dangerous methods to prevent his blood to flow and carry the virus to his brain. As he successfully does, he reverts the transformation to his human form. Meanwhile, Mumei faces and kills a Kabana using a blade in her shoe. Ikoma somehow survives, stopping the virus from infecting him and keeping his humanity. Takumi arrives looking for Ikoma, and Ikoma explains that his gun worked, and that he got bitten but stopped the infection. Meanwhile, Ayame Yamagawa and other survivors fight a defensive battle against the Kabana and seek opportunity to escape to Karatsuju. Mumei arrives in battle gear, offering to clear the way so Yukina, the only remaining engineer, can command the Karatsuju. She heads into the Kabana group, leading them away and killing them. Ikoma and Takumi attempt to board the train, but are stopped for inspection. Two Kabana appears and Ikoma wants to fight them, but Mumei arrives and kills them. She sees something's different about Ikoma and vouches for him, so he can board the train. Ayama gives her master key to start the train. Hirusu Kanachi, Bushi serving Ayama, wants Mumei to help they defend the train, but she refuses and falls asleep. Ikoma helps fending off a Kabana, showing his gun, but in the process, his Shinin-infected heart is exposed and Hirusu shoots him off the Karatsuju. A group of Kabana gets on the train tracks and Ayama sees it's her father Kenshu among them. They run him over, but when they stop to lower the drawbridge, a Kabana body part was blocking the mechanism. Hirusu wants to go and lower the manual lever, and while he argues with his subordinate, they see Ikoma fighting and killing the Kabana. Wanting to know they got saved by the man they abandoned, he goes and lowers the lever. The train continues without Ikoma, but Takumi and Mumei manages to get Ikoma back on the train. Hirusu gives Ikoma a suicide bag and wants him to kill himself. Mumei intervenes and reveals that they are cabanary beings between human and Kabana. Hirusu wants to kill her and Ikoma, but Ayama stops him and reminds them they were saved by those two. The Karatsuju is headed for Kangakaku, the Shogun's greatest stronghold, and Mumei wants to stay on board, promising to stay in the same train car. However, the passengers are not trusting the cabanary and are unhappy with the lack of enough food and water. Mumei explains she's heading to Kangakaku on a mission she can't reveal, and that after fighting for a while, she needs to sleep to recover. Because of that, she wants Ikoma to be her shield and protect her during her sleep. But since he is useless at the moment, she begins training him personally in preparation for future attacks. She feels a Kabana presence and rushes out of the car looking for it, causing panic among the passengers. She couldn't explain her reasons to Ayama for leaving the car, but then Ayama gets informed they are low on water and need to restock. They stop to fix the water tank and restock on water. Ayama uses the opportunity to hold a vigil by passengers' previous request. Mumei wonders if Ikoma is going to pray, and what is the stone on his hand as it hurts when he hits her with it. Ikoma tells how he lost his family and how his sister died from a Kabana attack 5 years ago. The stone was commonly found in the river around where they lived, and he kept it as a memento for his sister. A group of passengers gather planning on killing the cabanary, but Mumei comes out to fight them. Ayama arrives and stops the fight. Disappointed, Mumei goes to the other passengers. Ayama attacks Ikoma to prove that he isn't an enemy, and Ikoma tells her about his vow to his sister to kill the Kabana, appeasing the passengers' fears and making them disband. Mume tells Kajika that she is hungry, and since she is half Kabana, she needs blood. That causes the passengers to fear her, but then a pregnant woman had turned into Kabana and Mume proceeds to kill her. Meanwhile, Ayama apologizes to Akoma for attacking him, but soon Akoma passes out, and as she tries to help him, he wakes up delirious from his own need of blood and tries to bite Ayama. Kirusu pushes Akoma away from Ayama and Akoma comes to his senses. A large group of Kabana then appears from the forest and they are forced to get back on the train and leave. As the fear of the cavalry grew, the 6 chiefs, led by Akuji, makes Ayama hand over the master key of Karatsuju. Akuji then reroutes the train for the mountains to provide a shorter route to Kamikaku in spite of being more dangerous path. Takumi, Kajika, and Sukari are considered traitors and sent to the last train car with Mume and Akoma. By the 6 chiefs' orders, some men try to detach the last car, however in that moment Kabana ambushes the train and jump on it. Among them is a sword-wielding Wazatori who enters the train and starts killing people. Ayama and Kirusu then lead the Bushia fight and hold off the Kabana, until the surviving passengers escape to the front cars. Kirusu then fights the remaining Kabana with his sword skills. Meanwhile, Mume and Akoma escape the last car and move towards the front car while on top of the train, but Mume soon falls asleep from exhaustion and hunger. The Wazatori reaches Kirusu and he starts fighting him. As he attempts to pierce his heart, Kirusu's sword breaks and the Wazatori stabs Kirusu. As the Bushi were barely holding against the Wazatori, Akoma arrives and asks for blood in order to be able to fight the Wazatori. Ayama then slashes her arm and offers him her blood in exchange for he to fight for them. Akoma then takes her blood and goes and easily kills the Wazatori with his gun. Ayama then regains the master key and declares that the cavalry will remain on the train and that she will be providing them her blood. As she alone won't be able to provide all the blood they need, Akoma's friends and some others also volunteer to give their blood. Akoma helps the Bushi by developing guns and swords capable of killing the Kabana. 2 men cause commotion over argument for food and that annoys Mume and scares the children. She then beats up both of them. The train arrives at Yashiro Station and they realize the station was attacked by Kabana and there are some survivors remaining. They rescue the survivors who talk of a black fog before the attack. Mume meets an old friend Inoku, a crippled fighter loyal to her brother, the young master. He tells her that the shogunate is acting suspiciously and is stockpiling on weapons capable of only killing humans. He advises her to complete her mission while she is still human to not be thrown out like him. Debris is blocking the train tracks and Akoma suggests a cautious plan using a crane to safely remove the debris. Mume agrees to join them, but won't fight with them and insists on a head-on clash, calling them cowards. Akoma leads a group of Bushi and engineers to start the crane. After seeing how Mume ignores his warning and heads straight into the boiler room where all the Kabana are, he heads her way. Mume enters the boiler room and starts fighting the Kabana, killing all of them, including Wazatori. As Akoma's group follow Mume, they see that the large number of Kabana she took down. When Akoma starts to activate the boiler, the Kabana that Mume killed had provoked a large mass of Kabana that was located at the bottom of the station. Akoma calls for a retreat and decides he to stay and operate the crane. A weakening Mume uses her remaining energy to fight and hold off the Kabana from the crane, but a melee Wazatori comes and throws her off the crane platform. Akoma leaves the crane before clearing the debris and heads towards Mume. He kills the Wazatori and reaches Mume, but then after some tremors, a giant shadowy figure appears. The black smoke is revealed to be a colony of Kabana fused together. Having no choice, the Karatsuju retreats to the train station workshop and seal the door. Akoma finds Mume trapped under rubble and tries to get her out. Meanwhile, on Karatsuju, the committee is discussing their options of escaping and whatever they leave the cavalry behind or not. Akoma fails to free Mume, and as Kabana approach, he decides to leave her and fight them, killing as many as he can. Kibito, Kirusu, and some others them come and clear the rubble, freeing Mume. Mume then rushes to find Akoma, who is badly injured, and they return to Karatsuju together. While the black smoke is distracted and takes in Kabana bodies, Mume explains its fused colony. Sukari had noticed earlier a Type 48 cannon and Karatsuju had went and taken it. Mume explains that a single Kabana had become the fused colony heart and that they need to expose it and she will kill it. Meanwhile, Akoma had clears the debris from the tracks. As Karatsuju go, the fused colony goes after them. Takumi fires the cannon a bit early and that only causes Kabana to land on the train. Akoma, Kirusu, and the Bushi take care of the Kabana. As the fused colony approaches the front cars, Takumi sees an opportunity and shots the cannon again, hitting the heart and revealing it. Mume immediately jumps to take out the heart. To her surprise, the heart was a fellow cavalry comrade turned Kabana. As she takes it out, the fused colony disbands and Karatsuju manages to leave the station. Akoma copies a sword move from Kirusu, with Mumei commenting that Kabaneri are good copying others. Kirusu gets a bit annoyed and easily hits Akoma to show him he haven't learned anything, but Takumi tells Akoma to copy that move too, which annoys Kirusu even more. The Karatsuju then arrives at Shitori Station, and the passengers are happy to learn that the station is still occupied by humans. Akoma and the group goes for supplies. Ayama is tired of waiting for the Lord, so she makes Kirusu shoot one of his jet guns. That attracts the attention of the station minister, who after small demonstration is amazed by the jet guns, and they exchange food provisions for the jet bullets technology intervened by Akoma. Seeing the bamboo, Mumei remembers she had celebrated Tanabata before and runs away. When Akoma finds her, she tells him her past and that her name was Hazumi. Akoma promises her that he will turn her human again and that she will eat rice, just like her mother wanted her to do so. That evening, they start hanging their wishes on the bamboo. Seeing how small dreams people have, Akoma shares his dream of killing all Kabana, and Ayama reveals her dream is to reopen the Aragane station. The next day, the Heijiro Kokiju arrives with the Hunter Squad, an independent army formed to hunt Kabana, led by Biba Ematori, the Shogun's son and Mumei's big brother. However, Akoma is suspicious of Biba and wants to find out if he is really a hero or something else. Mumei introduces Biba Ematori to Ayama, and he reveals he is Mumei's big brother in name only, and that he is no longer considered the Shogun's son. Akoma tells Biba he knows him as the one that told Mumei the weak must die. Biba then invites them inside the Heijiro to talk. Meanwhile, Aryu seemingly attacks Ayama and Kirusu, but he was just killing a spider. Biba tells Akoma that he isn't casting anyone away, but trying to save them, just like how Mumei decided to save herself by fighting the Kabana. Kabana had been led to the station and they attack it. Biba Hen leads his Heijiro outside the station and deploy his troops, easily destroying all Kabana. Mumei and Horobai, another Kabaneri, team up to take on a Wazatori Kabana who was using two other Kabana as shields. Inoku emerges behind Biba, telling him he can still serve him, but Biba kills him as he had seen through his betrayal, which Akoma sees and gets angry. Meanwhile, Sahari deals with the other men that were plotting Biba's assassination with Inoku. Biba offers Ayama Kokiju to accompany Karatsuju to Kangokaku, which she accepts. Meanwhile, Biba gives Mumei orders to get Karatsuju's master key from Ayama. Mumei manages to get the key, but had been tricked by Yukina, who gave her a fake key. Akoma goes to the front cars, and Mumei is told that if he enters, they will have to kill him. She goes out and reveals that the Kabana are there for experiments and that she became Kabaneri on her own will and refuses to go with Akoma. As Mumei leaves, Akoma tells Ayama and Takumi that Biba isn't a hero, as he was smiling when he killed Inoku. Kokiju and Karatsuju arrive at the Iwado station, the last before Kangokaku, but by the Shogun's orders, the samurai are preventing entry for Kokiju and Biba. Ayama is relieved that they are parting ways with the hunters and asks Akoma to get Mumei. Lord Mida, leader of the fortress, agrees to a meeting with Biba on the condition that only women and children accompany him. Ayama is meeting with Mida first when Biba comes with Horobai and Mumei. As the meeting starts, Mumei leaves saying that she needs to go to the toilet. Takumi sees her and informs Akoma. Mumei goes and lowers Iwado Station's drawbridge, believing she is only letting Kokiju inside as per Biba's request, but then sees how Biba's men bring Biba's Kabana inside Iwado. As the alarm for Kabana rings, Biba and Horobai takes out Mida's men, and Biba then proceeds killing Mida. Mumei is horrified by what her actions had led to. Kirusu goes to find Ayama, but sees she being taken as hostage by Biba on Kokiju. Biba's men then proceed to kill the Bushi at the station as retribution to the Shogun's cowardice over the past 10 years. Biba injects Horobai with a blue blood serum so that she can become the heart of a fused colony anew, and she starts gathering Kabana to form the beast. Horobai manages to destroy the gate and open a path towards Kangokaku. The Kabana virus overtake Horobai, leading to dissolving the fused colony. Kirusu comes to Ayama rescue but falls off the train with Sao. Becoming Kabana, Horobai turns against Biba's men and starts killing them. When she faces Biba, she stops her attack and comes to her senses. However, Biba then kills her without mercy as she had served her purpose. Biba's men capture all remaining Bushi and Karatsuju passengers along with Akoma, as Biba is interested in his blood. Seeing all the destruction, death, and Biba's actions, Mumei realizes that all he had told her was a lie. Biba had taken Karatsuju and his passengers, using their blood to feed his Kabana. While Takumi was giving blood, he sees a hunter's member, Warabai, who cuts an arm of another man just for fun and gets angry. He goes to Akoma, who tells him they will make their move tomorrow night when they come for blood again. Biba offers a deal to Ayama that if she can open the gates to Kangokaku using her uncle and arrange a meeting with his father, he will guarantee the safety of her people. Wondering what his plan is, Biba tells her his past of the time his father sent him with his troops to Kyushu to exterminate the Kabana. They were winning, but then replacement supplies stopped arriving. They were overrun and wiped out. His father was behind all of this, and he wants to punish his father with his own hands. Meanwhile, Ikoma reveals his plan on taking control of the front car of Kokiju. Mume goes to Biba asking why he is taking Karatsuju's passenger's blood. He realizes she fears him and tells her that he will give a message so that the passengers won't be hurt if they remain peaceful. As she leaves, Biba comments she needs serious repairs. Next night, Ikoma starts his rebellion and revealing that Sukari had been feeding information while pretending to be part of the hunters. Ikoma fights Warabai, but Takumi intervenes and knocks him out, and they continue making their way towards the front cars. Learning about the rebellion, Biba tells Mume to handle it, threatening her that if she doesn't, he will stop giving her medicine and she will turn into Kabana. But Mume refuses, wanting to be together with the passengers and eat rice. As Biba's men try to hold her down, she attempts to run, but Biba had been giving her smaller doses of blood, resulting in faster exhaustion, and she got captured and sedated. Ikoma and Takumi continue ahead, but one of the keys doesn't work and they get ambushed by Biba and his men, as he had anticipated that if he starts a revolt it will be today, and swapped the keys. He then shoots at Ikoma, but Takumi protects Ikoma with his body and gets killed by Biba. Sahari then starts beating Ikoma and then blew up his hand. Biba calls for Mume and orders her to kill Ikoma. Being under his drug, she obeys his order and stabs Ikoma, who then falls off the train into a coast far below. Kajika and the rest find Takumi dead and mourn him. Meanwhile, Ikoma is still alive and washed up on a shore. Biba tells Mume about how his father had attacked him out of fear when he was young and injects Mume with black blood so she can turn into a new. Ushaga Nakamasa Amatori announces that Biba had destroyed Iwado Station, but assures his people that Kongo Kaku is impenetrable, and then kills the only communication operator who knew about the Black Fog monster to not spread fear among the people. Karatsuju arrives at Kongo Kaku and Ayama pretends to have captured Biba prisoner. She is allowed entry of Kongo Kaku and meets his uncle, and then she and Biba are taken to see the shogun. Meanwhile, Ikoma had lost his will to live and fight and hides from a Kabana, but then meets Kirusu, who had Sao Arata hostage, and Ikoma tells him what happened. Meeting with the shogun, he finds a blade he had given Biba long ago, and Biba asks the shogun to kill him himself. The shogun then prepares to draw the blade, but notices his hands gets pierced by something while grabbing the blade handle. The shogun then starts turning into Kabana, as the blade had injected him with the virus and some of his men start shooting at him. Biba then frees himself and kills the shogun, telling him that fear killed him. Biba announces that there are more Kabana hiding among them, and his men infect some people, causing panic among the people, and they start killing each other out of fear. His men open the gates and Kokiju enters and releases Kabana in the stronghold. Kirusu tells Ikoma that his wound required precision to not kill him, making Ikoma realize Mume was still there. As he informs Ikoma that Mume will be used as Black Fog, he asks Sao to tell him more about the virus, and he tells him that if they inject her with white blood, they can still save her. Biba's plan as a success in Kongo Kaku is in ruins overrun by the Kabana. Ikoma and Kirusu enter Kongo Kaku and draw the Kabana attention towards them, killing as many as they encounter. Ayama reasons with the surviving humans, making them stop attacking each other in fear, and offers them a chance to leave Kongo Kaku with her people in the Karatsuju. Sahari notices Ikoma and notifies Biba, and then attempts to kill him, but with Kirusu's help Ikoma manages to take the hunters. Sahari tries to run him over with Kokiju, but using his black blood power, Ikoma blasts the train and destroys it. Sahari goes to fight Ikoma up close, but Ikoma kills him. Ikoma manages to get closer to Mume's new, but she is delusional, recalling old memories and seeing butterflies. As the black blood starts to overtake her, Mume's new collapses. Ikoma reaches her, only to be intercepted by Biba. Biba stabs Ikoma and breaks his arm, but Ikoma, focusing his rage into energy, breaks his sword and pushes him away. Ikoma then loses his eyesight and hearing, and Biba manages to sneak up on him, intending to finish him, but Mume had realized Ikoma is nearby and calls for him. She then drops the memento stone from his sister. Ikoma hears it fall in the water and turns, hitting Biba and blowing up his arm, revealing that Biba is also a Kabinari. Ikoma goes to Mume and injects her with the white blood, disintegrating the new and saving her. Mume wakes up to find Ikoma collapse nearby and Biba charging at him, intending to keep fighting or he will kill Ikoma there. He refuses to listen to Mume, forcing her to pierce his heart as she tells him that sometimes she wishes he had listened to her. She tells him that even thought they are weak, they will continue living and strive for a future where they can eat rice. Meanwhile, Ayama and others wonder on how to escape Kongo Kaku. Oryu arrives and offers that if they let them on Karatsuju, he will tell them. When Ayama agrees, he reveals that Akoma and Kurusu are also in Kangakaku. Kajika then uses the radio station announcements to call for them and tell them where they need to go to escape. Mumei and Kurusu then carry the unconscious Akoma towards the Kaotetsuju and manage to board it and leave Kangakaku. The effects of the black blood start to diminish and Akoma wakes up. Mumei realizes that Biba had given white blood to Akoma while both of them were unconscious. Mumei then returns Akoma's memento stone. The end. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more awesome anime recaps.